Hello folks, back with another video of the Scimitar MV6 project. This is the engine now put back together with its new clutch, and it's ready to go in now, I think. Less a load of LPG stuff. It's always, when you see it like this, it's so tiny. It's such a small engine physically. You would easily go in a little Caterham style kit car or something. And to think it's making, well, for the sake of, let me see, a 3.2 bottom end, 3 litre heads, and a funny mix of cams, you can do something funky with both, like 4 inlet cams or 4 exhaust cams or something like that. It'll make 300 horsepower all day. It's ever so strong. Obviously the gearbox is the unfortunate weak spot, but yeah, really lovely compact little motor. So that's ready to go. I've done a little bit of work on these exhaust manifolds here. I was trying to get the bosses out. They look very crusty, so I've worked on this one a little bit and failed, to be honest. I got some sort of Stilson grips on there and that didn't work. Obviously the spanner wasn't going to work on that crusty thing. So I did the trick which has never failed me, and that's to weld a bar on there. I welded a huge bar on there, so the heat does more work than anything really. But also you've of course got a grip on it because it's welded on there. But yeah, I just snapped off the bar a couple of times and it did actually end up moving, but it loosened and then tightened up again, so it's galling, which is unfortunate. This is mild, I think, the plug, and the socket is stainless steel, and you get this a lot with stainless steel. If that was mild and mild, it would have come out, but stainless steel has a real tendency to gall up. It's very irritating. But no matter, I do have some new ones to go in, but it doesn't matter, that's so damn well in there now. The next thing to do is cut the boss off, but I'm going to put it back on the car because that's not where I want to put the lambda sensor. Luckily that did come out, and that's on the other side. It's just a little closer. That one came out, so I've got a new plug in there for now. It's just hand tight. I'll put the lambda sensor in when the exhausts are in. So that job is done. This is the interior of the car. You can see there the dials and whatnot. I'm getting rid of this. It's an old motorcycle intercom, so I'll just put a blanking plate on. I bought some aluminium to replace that, and all of this because well, a lot of it's fine. I'm going to get rid of that. I did have a CB radio. That's got to go. That's got to go. None of this audio stuff really worked very well from your phone or from the CB radio or something else. I forget now. That's all going to go. The fan override will stay, and the light. That's got to go. That's got to go. That gives you 20 seconds on petrol. So if you're on LPG and you wanted to rev the thing out, it didn't rev all the way on LPG. Push that and you get 20 seconds of petrol. So just cut the LPG ECU for a bit, and then it had a little think and came back online. So that was good for overtaking, but that does not need it either. And I'm going to replace that with a rocker switch. That's in a buzzer which warns you if there's low coolant level and low oil pressure. So there's going to be so many holes left. I'm getting a new sheet of aluminium, and then also this motorcycle intercom did come out the bottom here, so I'm getting rid of that, and I've got a new sheet of aluminium to replace that. All one thing, but a bit of work to do there. This is the LPG lot. The tank is out. This is the feed line to the front. This is the filler line from where you'd fill the LPG. The solenoids, I think they're called, which lead to the nozzles. So as a collective, that's the injector, if you like. Temperature sensor, filter and splitter, and the reducer. And then of course all the wiring, all labelled up now for the next owner. Hopefully somebody will take it on. I've labelled it all. I've got the software to go with it and everything, and the connections, and then the ECU. So that's all out. The filler at the back is all plugged up. I hid it behind this trim piece here. Luckily you can see the aluminium behind there now. It's just plugging the hole, but that was just a source of quite a lot of ingress in the car, water, so I'm glad that's gone. The feed line's gone, and obviously in here there was a lot of work. Well, not a lot actually. I mean, God, it was way harder putting it in, but there was a bit of work to get all that wiring out, the LPG wiring out. So yeah, I've blanked off all the bits really. This is the driver for the wideband lambda sensor, which then goes down there. So I'm going to get that going as well. And there's a gauge on that fascia there, the gauge with the black sort of smoked appearance. That's the lambda gauge. So I'm going to check how it runs again. It's been several years, so that's all right. And shovel this back up, and this goes underneath here, and the glove box will go back on. So just the one ECU to go in now rather than the two. Here's the Kinham's ECU that runs the engine. This is a very, very, very good bit of kit. I'm really impressed with it. It was so cheap as well. It was under 500 quid when I had it 10 years ago. It's very simple, 30 wires, 30 connectors. But you know, it has its drawbacks. I think you can only run 4, so you could run 4 injectors sequentially. But obviously I'm a V6 here, so we're batch firing, and a V8 would be batch fired as well. And the same with ignition. I think it can run 4, so I can do wasted spark with my V6, and you could do wasted spark with a V8. So that's not too limiting, but yeah. But otherwise, it's very good ECU, very simple ECU. So that's that. So I'm going to put the engine in now. It's ready to go. The yeah, there's quite a few holes where stuff came through the bulkhead for the LPG, so I've blanked those off. There's a big hole there, big hole there. So I've used a bit of P40 filler and then P38 over the top of that, sanded it back and sort of repainted that grey garage floor paint it is that I've used in the engine bay here. Just touched up in a few places, but it's still a little tatty looking really. But it's okay. Just needs to be functional for a few years. I want to respray it all anyway a bit later on. So that is it. Engine bay ready, engine ready. I'm going to put the engine in now. There it is, and the engine's back in. I took a hyperlapse video of it, but unfortunately it focused on my coat as I left the phone. So very frustratingly, the whole thing's blurry. I'm just going to put a tiny clip in of it, because you can still get an idea how small this engine is against the car. Yeah, there we go. Engine's in. It's quite a tricky thing really. I had these hoses here which go down to the either side of the oil filter housing here. They loop underneath the engine mount, so they've got to kind of get that around there. They come up through here and into the oil thermostat. I mean, I could take them off, but it was a lot easier to leave those on. And on the other side, this is the starter motor, which has got to be sort of wriggled around. You can see there how tight it is against the engine mount. It's got to be wriggled around that to get through. Yeah, other than that, it was alright. It only took about 5-10 minutes. So that is in. I'm going to try this water hose now, because this one did come down to the chassis on the other side, down to the chassis and up to the LPG reducer that was positioned here. So now I have to get that on the back of the water crossover pipe that goes between the two heads, so it can go straight to the heater. So before I do anything else, I'll make sure I can get that on there and put a good genuine Jubilee clip on there. Otherwise the engine's got to come out again to get access, and I certainly don't want to be doing that. Next job is that then really, and then I'll start putting things back on.